Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we talk about tactical, what the class strength and weaknesses are and what the best builds are currently. To go directly into the topic, class strength, damage. The character deals a massive amount of damage, both melee and ranged. Second main strength will be ammo economy, as you have an unlimited ammo pretty much with a singular perk. And third will be flexibility and damage profiles, as you've got a lot of options available to you when it comes to weapons and whether you want to deal damage from range or not. When it comes to weaknesses, the weakness is mainly next to no survivability perks nor gimmicks. We do not have a cloak, we do not have a grapple, we do not have a ground pound. Nothing that will allow us to survive longer outside of the base game mechanics, such as CHP regen and armor generation from block weapons. Those are the main weaknesses from tactical at this point. So let's take a look at the builds now. On to our first build, and this is the cookie cutter build, standard for true solo and pretty much any normal play you would have on tactical. This is what I would recommend. The pros of this build is that it's really straightforward. You can customize what fighting range you want to be at with your weapon choice, and you have strong options between aligned aim and secure stockpile in terms of range damage or equipment generation. In terms of cons, realistically this build has no con. The only con is you're playing tactical, so again, you have no innate defense mechanism. But outside of that, there really isn't anything negative you can say about this build. When it comes to the perk choices, I'll go over them quickly. So first one is balanced distribution versus plasma boost. Bolt weapons versus plasma. Basically, if you're on plasma incinerator, you run plasma boost. If you're not, you run balanced distribution. If you really value the extra damage on your plasma pistol, which is tactical's best secondary weapon, fire rate variant for contested HP, you can also run plasma boost on a bolt primary weapon. I do prefer, however, balanced distribution in those cases. Now, heightened vigor versus relentless pursuit or versatility. Heightened vigor is our only defensive perk. Out of all the perks we have, it's the only one that's defensive, along with resilience, but that's a prestige perk, so it's slightly to the side. Heightened vigor will allow us to not get staggered, and it really allows us to play melee. It also helps for our melee kill thresholds. If you're on fencing or balanced, you can consider relentless pursuit. Versatility is usually overkill. You don't really use your secondary for much other than contested HP regen or killing biovores, but you're probably all spexing them anyway, so they're dying quick enough. Realistically, you want heightened vigor. Even on a balanced or fencing weapon, I would rather play heightened vigor, though again, relentless pursuit can be a viable option, but you are squishy as a class, you're going to be even squishier with relentless. Now, the next column is a no-brainer, Emperor's Vengeance, infinite ammo. Next questions. Team perks, the choice is really up to you and the kind of draft you're playing in. If you have a bolt weapon, or if you're playing in a ranged heavy draft, so think something like tactical heavy sniper, then you really should favor aligned aim. If you are running with a melee draft, then you should favor a secure stockpile. It's basically a toss-up between those two. Both are very good, and there's very little downside to running the two. Bear in mind, some weapons, bolt weapons specifically, perform considerably better on aligned aim, such as the Stalker bolt, as it will change your kill thresholds. Now, when it comes to the next perk, it's vital data, no-brainer here. I'm always making the assumption we're playing, well, the builds are here for absolute or for siege. In that case, there's enough extremists and terminus to get a lot of value out of vital data. If you're playing anything below lethal, then I would recommend priority targeting, just because you will not get enough extremists or terminus to get value out of vital data. So anything lethal or above, hard siege, vital data, otherwise priority targeting. Next up is battle focus. That one is again an incredibly strong perk. It is pretty much the highlight of this build, and the main reason is for its interaction with block. If you get 2 block stacks with your blockchain sword and battle focus, you will one-shot any Majoris in the game with a throttle skip shoulder bash. Bear in mind as well that, contrary to balanced or fencing weapons, block will instantaneously apply battle focus, allowing you to play for headshots in between hits, whereas for battle focus to apply on parry weapons, your standard fencing and balanced, you need to have a gunstrike generating attack. It will also, battle focus helps you very much when it comes to killing extremists, as you just kill them a lot quicker with your melee combo. It can still work well with balanced and fencing due to the increased damage to your gunstrike, because you will get your parry, apply the debuff, then input your gunstrike. It will still deal a lot of damage. Still though, it is considerably more value out of a block weapon. Next up, concentrated fire. That perk is a no-brainer. It deals a massive amount of damage. You just put all specs down and it's a plus 120% free damage for everyone on your team. And that is usually enough to burn through a terminus super quickly. And last, we have Radiating Impact. In terms of signatures, the other 2 perks from Tactical are pretty bad. Radiating is basically an AoE pack clear on a 90-second cooldown. Think how many times you've seen 5 Devours together and you would have liked to kill them all instantly. Radiating does that every 90 seconds. There's a couple of things you need to bear in mind. The explosion happens the moment you press the button to grab and execute, so you need to position yourself first before you input grabbing the execute. And it is also triggered on Minoris jumps. Grabbing a Minoris counts as an execute. That means you need to be very careful when you spend your Radiating Impact and what for. It's a perk that requires you to think about it, especially because the game, sadly, does not give us an indicator to track its uptime or not. Now on to prestige perks really quickly. Acuity, must have if you're playing with any bolt weapon. If you're playing with plasma weapon, of course you can skip that one, but I would recommend Acuity. Resilience, our only other defensive perk, which is really just more HP from stims. Fortitude, more HP, and skill supplier, more ammo. Those are pretty straightforward. They will only change when we're looking at siege. Now when it comes to the weapons, I will give a quick recommendation. Anything works with this build. Tactical can make any weapon work, zero problem. There are a couple though that are particularly strong. Pyroblaster with venting speed is very good at killing Minoris and killing bosses. It can be a bit slow on Majoris. It's not his strength, but the other 2 is very good at. Stalker Bolt, incredible at killing Majoris, especially when running aligned aim, and Acuity Stalker Bolt damage variant, incredible gun for tactical. Bolt Carbine ammo variant. This is also an incredibly good gun for tactical. You can just hip fire run up to people by shooting them in the head, trade HP into enraged shotgunners, and still win. The gun deals a ridiculous amount of damage at short range, and I would recommend it every day of the week. Melee, again, block chainsword. You can go for a heroic or balanced chainsword if you want to, but block gives us more melee damage and armor generation. Given we are the squishiest class in the game, armor generation is super nice. Combat knife also does really good on block on single target. And that's it for the cookie cutter part of the build. I will add some gameplay extracts so you can have a look at how it's played. I will touch quickly on a variant which is what we use for speedrunning. The main difference is we forego battle focus, which is the source of our melee damage, for precise calibration. So the pros of this build is we increase group damage on the Auspex frame, and that allows for really strong burst patterns when you're in a coordinated squad. If you're able to call down an Auspex and to have the other people and yourself focus fire on whoever's within Auspex, that target will take a ridiculous amount of damage, allowing you to burn terminus encounters at a stupidly quick rate. You also have a minimal loss of range damage with that, because you still keep your balanced distribution, you still keep your aligned aim. However, you do lose a lot of melee damage, and your time to kill on extremists is going to be slower. You're a lot more team reliant. So this is a variation of the previous one, but the change from battle focus to precise calibration makes such a massive difference. I'm listing it separately. And I'll touch on a last build. On a quick note, the last one is Siege Tactical. If you are looking to push hard siege past 25, so upwards of 30, if you can go up to 35 and so on tactical, it will systematically look like this. You want to go steady aim, you want to go secure stockpile, precise calibration, and here you would go grab spare power. Why are we making those changes? Well, first off, we decide to remove our infinite ammo economy to get more boss damage with steady aim. Secondly, we remove some of our melee damage to again enable more group damage on terminus encounters. And thirdly, we want as much equipment generation for melter generation. And if you look at this, we also choose ammo boxes give us ability charge. The reason for that is our gameplay pattern is centered around making terminus encounters disappear as quickly as possible. You want to Auspex the moment your tank, whoever has aggro, ideally you'd have a bulwark or potentially a vanguard doing that job. As soon as your tank basically starts tanking the encounter, you want to Auspex and go into burst. So this is the best build to do it on, especially since you can refresh Auspex by collecting ammo boxes. And you would specifically use this build in combination with the bolt rifle grenade launcher. This makes an incredible difference when it comes to dealing with bosses, dealing with extremists, because you can just spam grenades, which you will refresh on the ammo boxes you buy, both for your Auspex and for your grenades, right? So it's very good value out of the build, it's really strong, and it allows you to get rid of terminus that cause too much disruption for you to play the wave otherwise. So this is what you would run in hard siege. Again, if you're on a fencing or a balanced weapons you're not comfortable on block, I would instead recommend Relentless Pursuit. I sadly won't have much gameplay examples for the last two build. One, because the first one is speed running, and I'm not the tactical when we speed run. That's what my tactical nub muffin runs. Though I'm very familiar with the build, I created it myself. And the second build is hard siege, and I'm again not the tactical in our hard siege runs. That's again nub muffin playing on that one. The build comes from Dreadwing originally, and he was the first player to true solo with tactical past Wave 20 Hard Siege a couple of patches ago. So it's a very tested, tried true solo build. It works incredible in team settings as well for Hard Siege push. Last closing words when it comes to tactical. The class is right now in a very, very good spot. It's a very strong class. right now, in terms of power levels, it is, I would say, tied with Bulwark and just below Heavy. It's in the top 3 best classes in the game, has an incredible amount of flexibility, just lacks a bit of survivability, so you have to really bank on your damage to not die. Hope you have a lot of fun out there, and maybe that you learned something along the way.